Hi everyone. Hope all of you are fine. Uh, this is the second video of the interview series, and in this particular video, I'm gonna cover an important topic which is related to high availability and disaster recovery. So, if in the interview, if you are asked about like what strategies do you follow for disaster recovery and high availability, how you would answer it. This is I'm gonna share you in my next slide, and this is very important and like tricky question. The answer can be so long for this and can be brief. We need to follow a strategized approach and a structure so that within a brief time we can able to get that interview, understand that we know the the concept behind like disaster recovery and high availability. Let's move to the slide now. Uh, the question is, what strategy do you use for disaster recovery and high availability in SQL Server environments? And remember, we need to answer in structured and practical way. So, uh, first of all, we need to differentiate him that what is high availability and what is this disaster recovery. High availability basically protects at server or instance level failure, and disaster recovery protects against site or region level failure. Like here it is clearly mentioned that this is high availability and it protects against server instance level failure, and the features we can use for high availability is failover cluster instances that works using shared storage. It is good in the critical OLTP system, OLTP like online transaction processing systems. Uh, there is one OLTP and one OLAP. OLAP analytical where we store the complete data for the analytics purpose, but this is online transaction, that real-time transactions happening. So this is the failover cluster, one strategy, and second is always on availability group where it protects at database level. We can group the databases and we can uh, configure the automatic failure and readable secondaries as well. Third approach we can follow for high availability is log shipping. It's very simple, it's cost effective because in always on works on enterprise edition which is license based, but log shipping is completely free, so this is cost effective, high available. uh, some companies use for DR also this, and there is also one strategies which is database mirroring. It is old concept that we call legacy, and that is like replaced by always on. So these all processes are for high availability. Now comes to the database disaster recovery. Disaster recovery basically protects against site or regional failure. As we mentioned here, protect against server or instance failure, the high availability, but DR protect against site or regional level failure. So clearly it defines it that you can keep in mind. Now the strategies we follow for DR, always on availability group with a remote replica. I have highlighted already. So for high availability, we follow always on availability group, and in DR we follow always on availability group with a remote replica across regions and data centers, because here we are protecting sites in case of failure. The second approach is log shipping to a remote site for a DR standby. In high availability, it was log shipping, only log shipping. But in DR, it is log shipping to a remote site. The third approach we can configure at the backup level. So backup to the Azure blob storage. So there's a storage that we call blob storage. With the help of that, we can like configure the backup in secondary region, and that is called geo-redundant storage for recovery in another region. There is also one more approach, Azure SQL AMI, managed instances or geo replication. If our infrastructure is in cloud, we can use this particular methodology, Azure SQL AMI or geo replication for disaster recovery. So hope now so far we are able to differentiate it or understood it that uh, where we where and how we use high availability and where and how we use disaster recovery. There are some general practices which we need to keep in mind. We always need to define RPO and RTO. I would I would explain you about RPO and RTO. What is RPO? What is RTO? RPO basically recovery point objective and RTO basically recovery time objective. So we need to discuss and finalize this with business. What is RPO and what is RTO? The second best practice we need to follow is automate regular backups, whether it's full, differential, or log. Always we need to regularize the backup and automate it, and we need to restore it periodically so that at the failure we are confident that our restore will work 100%. The third best practice is we need to implement the monitoring and alerting for HA and DR so that at minimum time we should able to acknowledge and initiate action for HA or DR. The next best practice we can follow like DR drill. In the 2 year, at least once we need to practice this DR drills. So these are the best practices we need to follow. And now, as I told you, what is RPO and what is RTO? Let me explain you a bit. RPO is basically recovery point objective. How much data can be lost? RPO and RTO both measures in terms of time. So like for example, RPO is 30 minutes and RPO stands for how much data can be lost. That means if RPO is 30 minutes, decided with 30 minutes that it can be we can lost maximum 30-minute data under RPO. That's how it can be interpreted. So maximum acceptable data loss can be 30 minutes, not more than that. If we talk about RTO, RTO tells about how quickly the system must be recovered. Means if RTO is defined 2 hours, then at any cost system must be back online within these 2 hours. So it can be interpreted as maximum acceptable downtime is 2 hours if RTO is defined as 2 hours. So now it is, I think it is pretty clear now, like what is RPO and what is RPO. So RPO, how much data can be lost in terms of time, how much downtime we can accept in terms of RTO. So SQL Server impact RPO controlled by backup replication frequencies and RTO can be controlled by HA or DR strategies. Okay, now because you are explaining to interviewer, if you add one example, clear example to him, then it would give more efficient way to make him understand and it would be clearly visible to you that for you that you know the concept. So here I've mentioned like suppose at one client we had a critical production system running, like you can explain to interviewer this, that how you have configured this RPO, RTO, DR and HA in your system. So you can explain, like at one client we had critical production system running on SQL Server always on availability group with synchronous replica in the primary data center for HA and an asynchronous replica in a remote DR site. We defined RPO as 50 minute and RTO as 1 hour. And we have also implemented backup to Azure for an additional safety layer. Twice a year, we can run DR failover drills to ensure that team could bring the system online quickly. So now, so far, you have explained to him that how you have configured HA and DR in your system, and while configuring, you have considered all the best practices. So this is a very good approach to explain any answer related to HA and DR. Now, any scenario also you can explain, like in one real incident where the primary data center lost connectivity, we failed over the to the DR side within 20 minutes because we have that like replicas available. So because RTO was 1 hour and we could able to restore it within 25 minutes, so we have met both RTO and APRIO. So this answer is very structurized, and this can be like this shows your, like you have the experience, and you are using the best practices also. So I hope I'm able to make you understand and clearly distinguish about DR and HA and where it impacts. Uh, I'll share this document also with you. So, like uh, this was about the strategies we follow for HA and DR configuration. And while answering to the interviewer, we should take care of like we are sharing some best practices like configuration in the line, some best practices, and also we will explain one scenario, one incident scenario where we faced it and we were able to achieve it. So that's how we can impress the interviewer and like give him the confidence that we know the concept and we have used it in past. So uh, uh, in this question, this is it. Like I would meet you in the next video of next question uh, in this interview series. So thank you for listening me, and yeah, bye.